Cambodia, home to the legendary Angkor Wat and many unexplored temples, Hollywood has made her world famous.
We're the first spot of Tomb Raider where they drop from Angelina Jolie from the aircraft.
Jungle, dream beaches, and friendly people with unusual pets. Emergency ration or delicacy, on the hunt for poisonous tarantulas.
Look at those teeth. It hurts like hell when she bites you.
A German photographer in search of secret places.
The openness and cheerfulness, and also the smile that I get here every day, has captivated me.
And the most important day in the lives of hundreds of children, how they enter the monastery as monks. Angkor Wat, the world-famous 5 towers, are the country's proud landmark and one of the most valuable cultural heritages of mankind. But only a small part of the complex, which covers over 400 square kilometers, has been explored so far. In the dense jungle, unimagined treasures dating back thousands of years still lie hidden.
I'm Bonnie. Jungle is my home.
Vanny has been roaming the thickets of Angkor since he was a child. He knows the dangers that lurk everywhere and has learned to survive here in harmony with nature. Today, the 35-year-old jungle child is searching for clues and making his way to the mystical temples of Ta Prohm. French botanist Henri Mahou saw exactly this site almost 150 years ago, when he rediscovered the forgotten temples by chance. Ancient strangler figs have reclaimed the millennia-old walls, the perfect backdrop for one of the most successful Hollywood adventures of recent years. In Tomb Raider, Angelina Jolie as Lara Croft searched these temples for the key to limitless power over time.
Hello, Well, nice to meet you.
Vanny now works as a tour guide. In order to find out insider information about the filming of Tomb Raider, he has arranged to meet up with one of the people who worked on the film set at the time. With his help, Vanny wants to find the exact filming locations. Perhaps he will soon be able to offer a new tour in the footsteps of Lara Croft.
Ta Prohm Temple is the foremost from the root of the tree on the top of the gallery of the temple, and then additional foremost because of the Tomb Raider. They take a film and this worldwide advertisement through the Tomb Raider and make Ta Prohm Temple become famous.
Since Angelina Jolie shot to fame in the blockbuster, no stone has been left unturned in this part of the temple. More than 2 million visitors marvel at the ancient walls every year. Soleil knows countless anecdotes from the set, but the real highlight is a long way away from the crowds of tourists. Just 500 meters to the west, but well hidden in the jungle, is the so-called Death Gate. According to legend, it was used to bring the kings of Angkor to their final resting places. In Tomb Raider, it served as a secret passageway to the Khmer treasure. Set builder Soleil and his colleagues designed artificial stone chunks that were to be torn out of the gate in the film.
It looked like exactly the same as the structure of the gate of the wall. And the color looked the same like a sandstone. And this side is covered by many kinds of designing and decoration because make a film look like in the jungle. It looked like this is a real jungle.
Soleil has revealed another tip about where an important film scene was shot. Vanny has to climb to the highest point of Angkor for it, Phnom Penh, the strong mountain.
We're the first spot of Tomb Raider where they drop Angelina Jolie from the aircraft with her Land Rover. And then later on she got like a telescope in her hand, and she looked around the area, and she found like a gate on that side, Death's Gate. So in the movie, actually, yes, she saw the gate from here. But really, you can see the gate because it's covered by the jungle. It's made from the movie, yeah.
The mighty mountain was not only a film location for Hollywood, but also the place where Angkor's high culture was born over 1,000 years ago.
And the original name of the city was called Yetsao Tarapura. That was built by the Khmer king, Yetsao Varman. And the sandstone coming from that mountain over there, that about 50 kilometers away from here. And to remove the stone in that time, so the people used the elephant.
Vanny himself has very special memories of this place because the cruel fate of his village was once determined from this mountain.
So that's my village over there, not far from here, about 3 kilometers away from here, where my home is. So the army of Khmer Rouge, they use this mountain like a headquarter base for them, where they install all the bomb, all the gun, all weapon all around here. I still remember when I was about like 14 years old, my village was attacked many times by the Khmer Rouge in order to stealing food from us. So firstly, they bombed the village and the people all run away from the village. And you can see explosion around the village everywhere. So many of my neighbors were killed and some were injured.
The Khmer Rouge wrote the country's darkest chapter. During their reign of terror, around 2 million Cambodians lost their lives between 1975 and 1979. Their leader, Pol Pot, instrumentalized children in particular as merciless killers. One of the cruelest places from this period is located in the capital, Phnom Penh, the Tul Slang torture prison. It is estimated that around 17,000 people were brutally tortured to death on 3 floors. Tshum Mej was one of the only 7 prisoners to survive this torture. However, his wife and children died here.
This was my cell.
Mostly Cambodians were imprisoned here, but there were also a few foreigners, including 1 Briton, 4 Frenchmen, and 2 Americans. None of them survived. The prison conditions were inhumane.
They chained us up here, and then they took off the handcuffs. Then the blindfold came off too, and we had to do our business in this container. But we had to be very careful that nothing got on the floor, here on the tiles. If we did, they forced us to lick everything up thoroughly, and then they beat us up.
The Khmer Rouge documented their genocide meticulously. All of the 17,000 prisoners from Tul Slang were photographed before they were murdered. Around a quarter of the population was executed at the time. Most died as labor slaves in the fields, but a growing generation is slowly regaining hope.
My name is Samnang. I have a family of more than 300 kids.
In Somrong, just a few kilometers north of Angkor, many children dream of a better future. Samnang, once a poor and uneducated boy, has set up the Angkor Kids Center there with international help.
The idea of the school started with 1 class that I taught by myself. And later on, my team here, they joined together and we expand the class.
In just a few years, the free education program has grown to 8 classes with over 300 eager pupils. Above all, they learn English as an important first step.
English is really not available here. All of my team, they are all volunteer teachers to give the English education to the kids around here. And on the other hand, being the teacher here is to train themselves, to build the capacity of their knowledge as a general, and also the language of English as a key for them.
The principle has proved its worth. Several pupils from the first generations now have well-paid jobs. This success is also due to the commitment of international helpers. Cambodia is the country with the highest density of private aid organizations in the world. Volunteer work has become a successful tourism model here, including at the Angkor Kids Center.
Hi, I'm Jürgen, and I'm here to recharge the batteries.
The 2 German buddies, Michael and Jürgen, sacrificed their holiday to work with Samnang. to bring the school a big step forward.
It's so important to have the international volunteer. They bring their international knowledge down to the area we don't know what is computer like.
There is currently no electricity in the village of Samrang. Michael and Jorgen have been working for days on installing a solar power system. The aim is to provide the classrooms with sufficient light so that lessons can also take place in the evening in the future. But German standards are out of place here.
Shopping in Cambodia is great. Until you've organized everything. There are nails there, slats somewhere else, angle irons somewhere else again. There are counters there, getting everything together first and then getting it here. Wow, that takes a lot of time. And then assembling the whole thing at 40 degrees is a tough job, but it's fun, with Michael.
The electricity should then also significantly improve teaching. Samnang dreams of computer courses, chats with helpers from all over the world, and film evenings for the whole village. But the power grid is not yet in place.
Hey, jetzt wird's echt Zeit, ne? Ja.
The solar system is to be put into operation for the first time today. Of course, the children don't want to miss out on this spectacle. The village has been eagerly awaiting this moment for over a year. Michael and Jorgen's work can make a decisive difference to the future of these children and enable them to catch up with the rest of the world.
The technical standard was already 50 years ago in Germany, so we were looking for a cordless screwdriver. That turned out to be quite difficult, but you can do without one. You just screw the screws in by hand. It's just different to sitting at home on the computer. This is real life, and it's great fun here.
The most important thing is still to come, checking the precious solar cells. The idea was still on shaky ground at the beginning. The system cost over 10,000 euros, financed by donations mainly from Germany. The Helpucation Association forms the basis for the Angkor Kids Center. Will Michael and Jorgen finally bring light into the darkness? Until the 1970s, Cambodia was proud of its nickname, Switzerland of Southeast Asia, as the standard of living was far higher than in its neighboring countries. Since the Civil War, Cambodia has been one of the poorest countries in the world. Although the Khmer are now on the way to a promising future, the kingdom is still characterized by agriculture. The granaries are the rice fields, which are harvested 3 times a year. Almost 3/4 of the population live from hand to mouth, and what ends up on people's plates often seems bizarre to many.
My name is San. I like beauty.
The period between March and June is a difficult time for rice farmers, as their supplies run out and they have to somehow keep their heads above water until the next harvest. That's why San and his family go on a very unusual hunt.
I'm digging for spiders here, but there aren't that many at this time of year. When we find some, we divide them up well, and only eat 1 or 2, keeping the others. It's growing season at the moment, so we always have a little food left. So we dig for spiders. We crush them with some greens and eat them until the harvest.
San has actually discovered an underground passage. The animals live in the ground and have to be coaxed out of their dark hole with great skill. It's a very specific type of spider that's been considered a delicacy in Cambodia for centuries. Unfortunately, tarantulas are also very dangerous. Their venom can be fatal to humans.
Look here. These are her legs. This is the mouth with the 2 teeth. Look at those teeth. It hurts like hell when she bites you. Her venom is really strong, and a bite is extremely painful. She really wants to bite. Sure, I'm scared too, but I have to dare because I don't know how else we're going to get something to eat. That's why we track them down. But it's always pretty scary. Look at the teeth. That's a really huge spider.
Such fully grown specimens are a real stroke of luck. Today, things are going well for San and his family. On their hunting trip through the bushland, they find far more tarantulas than they can eat themselves. At the market, they get about $1 for 5 animals. Perhaps they will spontaneously make some money from today's haul. The Kingdom of Cambodia is located in Southeast Asia and borders on the neighboring countries of Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam. One of Cambodia's most important sources of food is located in the heart of the country, the Lasap Clay. The largest lake in Asia is fed by the river of the same name, Tonle Sap, and, above all, the Mekong. Depending on the season, the water level fluctuates by over 10 meters. 1,200 people have settled in the Motsrej at the inflow. Life here revolves around the tides of the river.
My name is Kim Chon, and my neighbor is very dangerous.
For many generations, Kim Chon's family and his father have fished in harmony with the Tonle Sap. Every year, a unique natural phenomenon occurs here. When the glacier melt in the Himalayas begins in a few weeks, the Mekong pushes so much water into the basin shortly afterwards that the direction of flow changes and countless schools of fish come upstream. During this time, the Tonle Sap swells to 4 times its original size. The gigantic lake is therefore considered to be the most fish-rich inland water in the world. However, something has been wrong with the balance of the lake for a few years now.
This is the Lasap Sound, but there are no fish. There are fewer and fewer fish. Look, only water hyacinths. How are you supposed to make a good catch? That will cost us all our lives. Many fish are almost extinct. Only useless stuff is left.
Industrial fishing has also left its mark here. The local fishermen realize that it's becoming more difficult to make a living from the lake every year.
From now on, things will slowly start to pick up again, and there will be a few more fish. Then our real work begins. But this year, fishing is banned again.
Fishing has been heavily regulated in order to preserve the biodiversity. For the locals, it is a matter of survival.
This is worth about 10,000 riel, $2 or $3. We could buy 2 kilos of rice with it, which would last us 2 days. It's a poor life, but we've always had something to eat.
The floating village of Merdre is one of the poorest regions in Cambodia. All 237 families here share the same fate. Hardly anyone can read or write. They live off of what the Tonle Sap gives them, a hard life, but the river people stick together. If there is anything left over, they help their neighbors or do a little trading. It seems as if time has stood still here. Kim Chon's wife has had to find a way to conjure up the best possible meal from a small catch. But as little as it is, everything is shared. Meanwhile, Kim takes care of some very special pets. 8 freshwater crocodiles have been part of the family for over 2 years. They always get the biggest chunks of the catch. But crocodiles are dangerous hunters, so Kim has to feed them in a very special way.
I'm very, very careful, even when they are still small. Dealing with the animals is not easy. They would never recognize us as their masters. Even if we look after them for years, if we get too close, they eat us.
Kim hopes that one day he'll be able to sell the animals as crocodile leather or their meat on the market. This could be a way out of poverty. The crocodiles are therefore looked after and cared for by the whole family.
We don't have that many at the moment. We only started with a few animals. But once we have a lot, we'll be able to make a lot of money.
One of the largest trading centers for goods of all kinds is hidden in an old French Art Deco building in the heart of the capital, Phnom Penh. In the endless aisles of the central market, there's hardly anything that is not turned into money. But the market has always been a meeting place for all generations. Just the right place to immerse yourself in Cambodian life.
Hello, I'm Svinia, and I love to stop time.
4 years ago, the photographer found the perfect moment and gave her life a completely new direction. Since then, the markets of Phnom Penh have been her stomping ground. She has just opened her latest exhibition in the city.
It was actually my love of the country that brought me here. I've traveled here twice on holiday, and yes, I've stayed in Germany. Actually, I made my career in a normal job, and at some point I needed a break, where I could say now or never. And I said now, and immigrated to Cambodia, and I don't regret it.
Cambodia's exoticism acts like a magnet for curious travelers, especially away from the tourist crowds.
There are plenty of secret spots. For people from Germany who come here, there's actually something to discover every day. The markets here alone, there are fish and crabs that I've never seen in my life, but it is not easy to discover. It needs a little bit of effort, and you have to give the city a few days.
Phnom Penh is the fast-beating heart of the kingdom, with a current population of around 2 million. The lively capital is on the cusp of modernization, but has so far retained its charm. For Svenja, it is an inexhaustible hunting ground for authentic Khmer life. She searches for unusual motifs in dark courtyards, or plunges into the chaotic hustle and bustle of the streets. In search of exciting perspectives, she makes her way to one of the city's poorer neighborhoods. The whole of Bong Kak is adorned with pictures by street artists, a lively art form that grows and disappears again. Svenja comes here again and again because there's always something new to discover. The local artists have developed their very own self-confident style.
I am Vicheka, and I have changed my life with one stroke.
Wichka is one of the hottest up-and-coming artists in the country. He is specialized in a completely new way of painting, the so-called doodle, street art that is becoming increasingly popular around the world.
Doodle is an art form that looks very chaotic, untidy and complicated. Everything consists of very small particles that are arranged in such a way that they form a shape as a whole and develop a deeper meaning.
Wichka does not know yet what this work will look like in the end. His Doodle Club is now highly successful and receives orders from international companies such as Mercedes-Benz and Siemens. Some visitors only come to the Mojo Cafe because of him. Svenja has also followed the trail to here.
It is of course not Khmer this time. That's why I'm a bit disappointed. But it's still great. Drawing freehand, just painting with a brush on the wall, and so accurately. It's really fascinating.
There are many similarities between the works of the doodle artists here in the country. Nevertheless, everyone has their own style. I always hide Khmer symbolism in everything I create. I want people from other countries to discover the typical Cambodian art in my doodle pictures.
Just under 3 hours' drive southwest of the capital, in the fertile valleys of Kampot, hides a culinary treasure, the very special Kampot pepper.
Hi, I'm Martin, and I go where the pepper grows.
Far away from the hustle and bustle of the big city, a compassionate Frenchman runs a highly unusual gourmet temple on the banks of the Kampot River. Just the thing for the German pepper merchant Martin Gumperman, who was one of the first to bring the legendary Kampot pepper to Europe's fine kitchens. He has been a friend of the greenhouse ever since he discovered it more than 5 years ago. The cuisine at the greenhouse is a wild fusion of first-class haute cuisine and local specialties. The 23-year-old French chef with Korean roots has learned the magic from the great cooking legends.
I spent a season in Monaco at the Louis XV with Alain Ducasse, with 3 Michelin stars. After that, Paris, 1.5 years. I opened a restaurant and dusted off a few stars.
But what could attract such a successful, exceptional talent to the remote hinterland of Cambodia?
Amazing. So this is a barracuda. So it's cooked in a leaf of cabbage. This is a risotto of quinoa. And you have an emulsion of fresh long pepper. And of course, inside you will find the pepper bird.
Here, the chef is allowed to experiment with ingredients that cannot be found anywhere else in the world. The greenhouse is fully specialized in Kampot pepper cuisine under the French landlord, Stephen Kampot.
The pepper is an ingredient. It's not just a spice. Everything takes place in the nose for me. When I crush it, there is something like some citrus and something very powerful come in. Everything takes place here, not really here, And this is for me what this pepper is absolutely magic, and why we are very proud to work with that as well.
Savoir vivre, at the end of the world. This place is also affectionately known by insiders as the French Embassy, because French food culture is celebrated here. But Stephen has also dedicated his life to the treasures of this region.
So when we arrive here, we are in where the Kampot pepper is done. Nobody was doing any food about this amazing pepper. So me, as very passionate by this spice, when I arrived here, for me it was absolutely obvious that as passionate in food as well, I have to work this product.
When Martin is a guest here, there is one thing that is absolutely clear to him. The special location of the greenhouse is ideal for one of his other great passions. The picturesque Kampot River is often explored by adventure holidaymakers by kayak, stand-up paddleboard, or small wooden boats. But the greenhouse also offers customized boat trips or simply the opportunity to relax on the jetty. This location is an insider tip for relaxing for a few days, especially among expats living in Phnom Penh. In the capital, too, the sun is slowly fading towards the horizon. But it's in the evening hours, when temperatures slowly drop below 30 degrees again, that the city comes to life. Today is also a very special day that the whole country celebrates, the birthday of King Norodom Sihamoni. Photographer Svenja Borgwinkel is therefore on her way to his magnificent palace. Here she finds countless motifs of the modern Cambodian way of life. Even if the king only has a symbolic function today, he is still revered by the people. Thousands of them have gathered here.
So this is where the king lives. And it's also his birthday right now. So there's 3 days of holidays, as you can see. Many people around who sit in the front yard and picnic. The king has very good company. The scenery here is fascinating. When I come here, I remember. Phnom Penh really made me a photographer.
And while some people are still enjoying the cool twilight here, others are really starting to sweat.
I am Sokyon. I turn poisonous food into delicious food.
In the meantime, the spider hunter's rich haul has actually made it to Phnom Penh, and there are even a handful of scorpions to boot. Chef Sok Huong and his young colleague Paul take on the deadly delivery, but they are not entirely comfortable.
Oh, I'm so afraid, but I need to kill it. It's so dangerous with the poisoning. I don't want them with me. So I need to do very, very carefully. Even the suicide and have chef, so afraid too.
Rom Deng is an upscale restaurant known for its unusual dishes made from insects such as red ants, beetles, and caterpillars. But the restaurant's specialty is freshly prepared tarantulas, Khmer style. Chef Sokwong uses an old recipe for this.
First, we marinate them, then we leave them to stand for about 10 to 15 minutes so that the ingredients can all soak in. And then We deep fry them in the pan. I try to collect typical recipes from the remote areas of the country. Very often, not even we Khmers still know these old dishes from the past, which we almost lost. We try to make new creations based on them and prepare them a little more appetizing and tastier.
The hairy delicacies are more of a test of courage than a real treat for the palate among often Western guests. But anyone who has lived in Cambodia for any length of time will have become familiar with these exotic eating habits at some point. And in the end, isn't it all a question of imagination?
It tastes really meaty and actually good. Like roast. A bit like roast.
Svenja is still on the hunt for the city's secret spots. She's arranged to meet with Nick today so that he can take her into his glittering world of parties.
Hello guys, my name's Nico, and I'm the patron of Phnom Penh nightlife.
Phnom Penh's hot nights usually take place on the street. Travelers, expats, and locals party hand in hand here. Australian Nick has opened bars all over the world and has now been running 2 trendy bars here for more than 3 years. He takes Svenja to one of the hippest lanes at the moment, Basak Lane.
You need to sort of know a little bit about Phnom Penh before you go delving into it. I think otherwise you find yourself just down on Riverside or anything you're reading in the tour guides. It's a little group conglomerate of bars, quite this, what I consider a mini Melbourne in a way. Yeah.
But Basak Lane is unlikely to really get going today.
Normally this is thriving, there's bums on seats everywhere, people everywhere, and tonight unfortunately with the King's birthday it's a little bit quiet around town, so I think a lot of the expats might have escaped for the weekend down south for some salt water and hopefully sunshine. Maybe if it doesn't pick up, maybe we can try the container market, the new one.
I would like to see that, I haven't been there.
So we'll have another beer here and then we'll move on.
Journalists and backpackers and Westerners come to behave badly.
The great thing for night owls in Phnom Penh is that life is spread all over the city. And Nick wouldn't be the legendary godfather of nightlife if he didn't know where the action is.
Here we are, Jet's Container Night Market. Phnom Penh's newest little secret, it's very cool.
The original intention was to create a nice little night market here in old stacked freight containers where people could take a leisurely stroll and shop. But the youth of Phnom Penh decided otherwise and turned Jet's container market into the city's hippest party area in no time at all.
They've really blown my expectations away. I came another night, it wasn't as busy as this. This is really exciting stuff. Within the 4 months it's grown to this huge melting pot of the Khmer culture. I saw some Khmer superstars in there. I saw some tuk-tuk drivers I know. I saw a couple of families I know. So it's really cool to come down and see it thriving like this. I don't know how long it'll be a secret for though.
The young generation is increasingly freeing itself from the shadows of the past and giving the country a new cosmopolitan identity.
Once you know one person at a table in Cambodia, you know the whole table.
You won't find any foreigners or expats here, but Nick and Svenja make friends in just a few minutes.
The openness and cheerfulness and also the smile that I get here every day has captivated me from the very first moment in Cambodia. As a photographer, this is a great atmosphere here in Cambodia because people like to be photographed, and I could imagine being able to take beautiful portraits here.
The Angkor Kids Center, north of Siem Reap, is also flipping the switch for the future today. Michael and Jürgen have been working late into the night to make the dream of the people of Samrong come true. A lot will change here from today. In an area with no access to electricity, a solar system now supplies the education project with enough power to benefit the entire village.
The plan worked out. I think we need another day or two until everything is ready, and I'm proud. But now, wow, no kidding. I'm thrilled. It's turned out really well.
Helping people to help themselves. For volunteers who sacrifice their holidays, this is the fulfillment they are looking for. Just a stone's throw away, in the temples of Angkor, over 500 monks are also in search of the light. Today is the most important holiday of their Buddhist faith, and the moment of a very special ritual. For one night, the men, women, and children pray, meditate, and process at the most sacred place in the country, Angkor Wat.
Hello, my name is Liam. I gave my life to the Buddha.
Liam turned his back on worldly life for good over 23 years ago and turned to Buddhism in search of enlightenment.
How to be a monk is not so difficult in Cambodia. We just go to stay in the Pakada and we learn some discipline or the rule of the Buddha. The first one is not to do bad, and the second one is try to do good as much as possible, and the third one, try to purify your mind or clean your mind.
Today's Visakha Buddha holiday honors the birth, death, and enlightenment of the Buddha. This spectacle has taken place every year on a specific full moon in May for centuries. The combination of the three events is one of the most important messages of Buddhism.
It can be one lesson that tells us that when we are born, we cannot live forever. We are going to die. So, what we should do after we born and then before we die.
Traditionally, hundreds of children also have to face this essential question about the meaning of life on this holiday. They are expected to leave their families for good and join the monasteries as monks. For many poor families, this is the only way to keep their children alive. But as hard as it is, Liam knows from his own experience that this can also be an opportunity.
I'm originally from the very poor background, so I live in very difficult conditions. So after I become monks and I got educations, now I graduated from university and I feel very thankful to the Buddha and also the Buddhist temple that provide me this opportunity to improve my life.
The ritual also stipulates that all the monks circle Angkor Wat once in a procession of lights, but the weather gods seem to have something against it today. In tropical Cambodia, sudden storms are the order of the day. The strong winds of the monsoon whip the rain around the walls of Angkor to such an extent that the ceremonial act has to be cancelled completely this year. The thunderstorms usually move away as quickly as they arrive, especially in the south on the country's coast. As the last wispy clouds disappear behind the horizon the next morning, a lonely junk heads out to sea. The destination, the island of Korong Sanlom, which is famous among many backpackers. Pepper merchant Martin wants to treat himself to a short break here. Less than 10 kilometers from the mainland, the tropical island beckons with breathtaking beaches, lush green jungle, and a turquoise blue sea that enchanted sailors hundreds of years ago.
So, when I came here for the first time, I got a tip that there's an island that is still sparsely populated and where there is still very little going on in terms of tourism. And I traveled here and was just thrilled because you can really relax here. You have a white sandy beach, icing sugar. Yes, here, like a bathtub. You can just chill out and think about life and just relax.
Sarasen Bay on Sanlom was long regarded as one of the last unspoiled paradises in the Gulf of Thailand. But tourism has changed a lot.
When I was here for the first time, there were hardly any bungalow complexes, apart from the one we can see here in the background. There wasn't a single one, 200, 300 meters down. Now, everything is full, still very beautiful, but no longer such an insider tip.
But they still exist, the secret spots for escapists, perhaps Son Lom's best kept secret.
Hello, my name is Sana. I have the key for paradise.
On the east coast of the island, a picturesque bay with an endless sandy beach is hidden behind dense jungle. Sana has built 10 wooden huts in the bay of Sandy Beach, where she offers her guests seclusion, far away from all the party miles for around $50 a night. The luxury is deliberately kept to a minimum, because it's all about that real Robinson Crusoe feeling. The bay can only be reached by boat. Martin has also found paradise on the other side of the island and has set course for Sandy Beach. Sana is already waiting for him at the jetty. Those who find their way here not only get to see the most beautiful sides of the country, but also experience the unique hospitality of the Khmer people. Sana belongs to a young, open-minded generation in Cambodia that is reaching out to the progress of the West without throwing its own traditions overboard. The country still has a long way to go to escape poverty, but the motivated departure into a new, bright future has long since begun.